Joe Ryan, fresh off his first spring training start of 2026, announces that he will pitch for Team USA and leave the Minnesota Twins for the time being, and why that's a good thing.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Twins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm CJ Baumgartner, Twins writer for Zone Coverage and a lifelong Twins fan. This episode is brought to you by MLB The Show 26. Visit MLB.show/LockedOn and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th. Play on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. By the way, stick around for later in the episode for our MLB Top 100 highlight. Today, we take a look at the Minnesota Twins making a couple more roster cuts, including a top 5 prospect getting sent to minor league camp. Also, we take a look at the PlayStation MLB Top 100s list, including numbers 40 through 31. All of that, but first, we start off with the news of the day, which is that Joe Ryan will, in fact, pitch for Team USA. After all, he's going to replace Clayton Kershaw after Team USA's Friday night contest, I should say, against Team Canada in the quarterfinal round of bracket play. So Team USA does escape the scare after Team Italy comes through. After Team USA got the win against Mexico on Monday night, Tuesday night they lose against Italy. Italy comes through, so Team USA and Team Italy both advance out of that pool play. And what it means now is that Team USA is still alive and, in fact, ends up on the opposite side of the bracket of Puerto Rico and Japan, I believe. So honestly, that's probably the best thing for Team USA out of all this, the way that the bracket sets up. Maybe Mark DeRosa was playing the long game after all. I have no idea. He probably wasn't. But still, Joe Ryan, it wasn't 100% for certain if Ryan was going to pitch in the WBC at all. Remember, he was scheduled to be with the team right out of the get-go. Had some back issues, back inflammation at the beginning of camp, right before the first minor league game of spring. And Joe Ryan held himself out, missed a couple weeks, decided to get healthy, had his first start, and ended up pitching okay. We talked about it on Tuesday's show, I believe, or yesterday's show, and we talked about how the Minnesota Twins needed Joe Ryan to come back and how Joe Ryan, even though he wasn't quite as effective as you would like him to be, certainly had an initial, like, okay, this is the floor, seems all right. He still had 3 shutout innings, even if he wasn't at the top-notch Joe Ryan form. And that was enough for Joe Ryan to say, hey, I'm going to go pitch for Team USA in the WBC. And I think that there was a moment there, and we talked about it on Wednesday's show, where it was like, hey, maybe Joe Ryan just is kicking the can down the road, and maybe he just doesn't want to deal with it, and maybe he's going to hold himself back and use this as an excuse to stay in camp and get ready for the start of the regular season. And he didn't. And look, I wouldn't say Joe Ryan's first start lit up the world, but I think this honestly is a good thing for the Twins and for Joe Ryan. Maybe not the best thing for the Twins. I think, again, they're going to let the player do what he wants to do. And all teams, not just the Twins, I think don't want their players, especially their star players, getting hurt in an exhibition tournament. Remember, Edwin Diaz for the New York Mets got himself hurt a couple of years ago pitching in the WBC and missed the entire year for the New York Mets. So there's a lot I get of angst about sending your player to go there. But for Joe Ryan, he clearly does want to go. And he had a start that, even though it didn't light up the world, still was effective and showed Joe Ryan that he isn't like miles behind. He was able to get up, felt good the next day, and is ready to go. And again, you wait about a day and a half after that start, and now all of a sudden he makes that decision that he's ready to go. Of course, waiting to see if Team USA advanced after that as well. But I think it shows that he's ready to go and that he feels good about himself. And if Ryan didn't feel good, he wouldn't be pitching. And I think if Ryan would have said, I don't quite feel healthy, I'm going to hold myself back, not that I would have been overly concerned, but that being said, it would have concerned me more if Joe Ryan would have pulled himself back to rehab the injury than it would be for Joe Ryan to not be pitching in the WBC at all, because this is something Joe Ryan clearly wants to do. He's in a much different spot than Taj Bradley, who Taj Bradley decided, you know what, I'm going to stay in camp. I'm not going to pitch for Team Mexico. That wasn't because of injury. That was just because he looked at the rotation depth at the time and said, hey, if I stay in camp and keep working, keep getting more accustomed to things, there's a good chance I'm going to be in the MLB rotation come opening day. And he's also first full off season in a new organization, first spring training with the Twins, getting caught up to speed, not just with Ryan Jeffers, but Victor Caratini, also a new manager in Derek Shelton, even though Pete Mackey, the pitching coach, is the same. There's just a lot of things for Taj Bradley that made more sense for him to stay back and be with the Minnesota Twins instead of with Team Mexico. Now, looking back on it, Bradley wouldn't have missed that long because Team Mexico obviously did not advance, although maybe if Bradley's there, maybe things look a little bit different. Either way, Joe Ryan is in a different spot. Joe Ryan is a proven veteran. There's nothing else he needs to prove with the Twins. Ryan Jeffers is the same. He can get caught up with Victor Caratini pretty quickly. And even though Derek Shelton's the new manager, Pete Mackey is the pitching coach and is the same. And Joe Ryan just is a proven big league veteran. He's an all-star. And I think that there's just a lot more, he just has a lot more leeway to be like, I want to go pitch. And there's not really much the team can do to try and dissuade him. Again, Ryan pitched 3 innings, gave up a couple walks, a couple hits in his opening spring training start against the Tampa Bay Rays team that, albeit was on the road, they're not at full strength, and they have some guys out for the WBC as well. But I think to wrap this all up, Joe Ryan staying in Twins camp to fully rehab may have been a bit more preferable for the team, but Ryan is healthy enough to pitch for Team USA, and I think that points in the direction that he's going to be healthier than not, and he deserves the opportunity to go out and play if he wants it, because he clearly does. And here's the thing, with Tarek Skubal opting out, with Clayton Kershaw going down, with Matthew Boyd leaving Team USA to go prepare to start opening day for the Chicago Cubs, there is a leeway for Ryan to get a very big role with Team USA, because Paul Skeens is going to pitch in the opening, in the pool play, or in the opening bracket play round, I should say. And then you set things up. Obviously, there's a semifinal round, but according to Yahoo, they say that Joe Ryan is in line to start the championship game should Team USA get that far. And I think that is a huge opportunity for Joe Ryan that you can't take away from him just because, you know, he maybe wouldn't be 100%. I think that Joe Ryan has earned the opportunity. He seems healthy enough. And if he has a chance to pitch for Team USA in the WBC championship, again, should they get that far, you can't rob him of the opportunity. And let's say Team USA loses right away and gets eliminated. Well, then Ryan doesn't pitch for them really at all, or maybe pitches an inning tops, and he comes back to camp and you move on. There just isn't as big of a risk for him to make potentially 1 4-inning start for Team USA. And I think overall that helps out Ryan in this whole thing. All right, we're going to talk more on this episode of Locked On Twins, including the team making a couple more minor league camp reassignments, including the Twins' lone remaining top 10 prospect on the list, and going through the MLB top 100 list, names 40 through 31, and Byron Buxton shows up on the list. We talk about that and more, all coming up after this. College basketball is a nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night, from early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts. There's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever you want. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out. Then you can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. And another sponsor of Locked On Twins, it's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has an in-person location nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. Want to remind you about the Everydayer Club. If you've been thinking about joining the Everydayer Club, now is the time. Again, you get ad-free shows and access to our group chat on Discord. And if you're signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, you can get into our Everydayer Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. Should be a lot of fun. Right now, you can use code MARCH to get your first month free. Tap the link in the show notes or go to lockedonTwins.supercast.com for the Everydayer Club. Again, use that promo code MARCH. Okay, so let's take a look at the Minnesota Twins making a couple minor league camp reassignment moves. That includes one Kaelen Culpepper. Kaelen Culpepper and Aaron Sabato, after Wednesday's Twins spring training game against the Red Sox, send both of them down to minor league camp. Kaelen Culpepper and Aaron Sabato both have not been officially assigned to AA or AAA camp, just as minor league camp, but assuming both of them start the season in AAA, at least just on my own gut level prediction at this point. And right now it means the Twins have 47 players remaining remaining in big league camp between the players who are on the 40-man roster and their non-roster invitees. So now that means that Kaelen Culpepper, who is the only prospect who was not on, or who hadn't been reassigned to minor league camp that was on the Twins prospect list, is now gone. Kaelen Culpepper came into camp as the Twins' number 2 prospect overall, behind only Walker Jenkins. His ETA for the major leagues is 2027. But again, I think what this does, I think Kaelen Culpepper had a successful Twins camp. Let's look at his line. 14 games, had 19 at-bats, got a double, a couple RBIs, logged in a stolen base on 1 attempt, did strike out 5 times, but drew a walk. Had a .316 batting average, a .749 OPS. And even though he didn't have the highest opponent quality, I thought what Kaelen Culpepper did was help ascend the timeline. So we talk about it with Walker Jenkins a lot, and I've mentioned it on previous shows. Go back this week and listen and watch those to hear me talk about Jenkins. But the gist of Walker Jenkins is that because he missed time in this spring training period, he wasn't going to make the team out of spring training. He was always going to start the year in AAA. But he could have had a chance to ascend his timeline and really expedite that process. And I think Kaelen Culpepper did that. I think there is an outside chance you do see Kaelen Culpepper on the Twins in 2026. I think it depends obviously on health of guys like Brooks Lee, Royce Lewis, and others, but there is a chance that Kaelen Culpepper starts the year in AA, gets himself into AAA quickly, and could, before the end of the year, end up on the Twins' major league roster to give the team a little bit of a spark throughout the course of the season. Again, it wasn't a huge spring training period for Kaelen Culpepper, but that being said, he looked like at least it wasn't a 200 batting average or 150 batting average with a 650 OPS, 749 OPS, wasn't again the most stringent competition, but proved he held his own, ripped a double in the 9th inning of the Twins spring training game yesterday, and was able to have himself a very good exit note. And I think the timing of this, there's a couple things that come with the timing of Kaelen Culpepper's demotion. It comes mainly just because the Twins, guys like Emmanuel Rodriguez, guys like Gabby Gonzalez, even though I think those guys did a good job as well of expediting their timeline, I think also there's just a ton of outfielders. The Twins feel pretty set with Rodin, Outman, Larnach. Buxton is with Team USA, but Buxton's still there. And others, Wallner, to where they have a ton of outfielders. But in the infield, and especially at shortstop, you do want to make sure that you have a couple guys. And I think Culpepper was able to last an extra week because of just kind of position battles and numbers and things like that. And now you really start to see Creedler. You start to see if Arcia, get more looks for Gio Urshela. Some of these guys who are going to be either starting the year in the minor leagues or cut, or a backup in some of these utility role spots. Now we're really going to see the utility man competition heat up in these last couple weeks of camp, because we're going to get to see a lot of these guys as that spring training roster dwindles for big league camp. But I think overall, for Kaelen Culpepper, he showed that he could hang. And I think that he does, again, not that he's going to all of a sudden be getting called up by Memorial Day. I think that there is a chance that before the end of the season, Kaelen Culpepper makes his Minnesota Twins debut in 2026. And I think where you started big league camp, and while there's an outside shot, I think you wouldn't rank it pretty highly on that list, or you wouldn't expect it to happen pretty quickly. Where now I think you look and go, if you piece it all together, I think Kaelen Culpepper could make the team by the end of the season, instead of spend all year in the minors, maybe crack AAA and see where you're at come 2027. I think there's a good chance that you see Kaelen Culpepper. He probably starts the year in AA. It's where he ended the year. And Kaelen Culpepper ended his AA season with the Twins organization in Wichita. And Culpepper, overall, with his numbers in AA, as I'm waiting to have my numbers pull up here, finished with a 285 batting average in Wichita. And not only that, had an 827 OPS. So I think you could very well see him start the season in Wichita, get his confidence going right away, and then call him up before June to AAA, see how he does all throughout the summer. And a high end, he's by the Twins by September or something like that, depending on how the standings work out, depending on the health of Brooks Lee, depending on the production level of Brooks Lee. If Brooks Lee is playing really well, holds his own as a shortstop, has good hitting numbers, well, there's no reason to have Culpepper come up at all, and you can let Brooks Lee cook a little bit cook in the major leagues, and let Kaelen Culpepper develop a little bit more at the AAA level and against AAA pitching, and just get him ready. Kaelen Culpepper right now, again, if you look at his age, right now he's 23 years old. Walker Jenkins is 21. Kaelen Culpepper, again, even if he got called up at 23, would still be pretty early to make your big league debut. And again, Walker Jenkins getting his call up at potentially 21, 22 years old. Well, that's unheard of, and only things that happen for top prospects like Walker Jenkins is. Walker Jenkins on the top 100 prospect list comes in at number 14 as a top 100 prospect in all of baseball. Kaelen Culpepper is at 52. So again, Kaelen Culpepper is a top 52 overall prospect in all of baseball. Walker Jenkins is 14th, and you can see kind of the ascendancy plans for each of them are impacted based on that prospect status. So again, overall, I think this was a good spring training for Kaelen Culpepper. Good, not great. And I think it does help him move the timeline along, just like it did for Emmanuel Rodriguez and Gabby Gonzalez. But overall, I would put, I guess if you were to say it, Kaelen Culpepper goes in the Gabby Gonzalez range of expediting the process, not so much the Emmanuel Rodriguez. Emmanuel Rodriguez basically is like, hey man, any injury to Matt Wallner at all, and I'm up. Any struggle for Matt Wallner at all, and I'm up, barring injury. Whereas Gabby Gonzalez is, hey man, if there's a couple injuries and maybe some depth issues, and I'm on the list, I'll get my name bumped up there eventually. And maybe you bumped it up sooner rather than later. But also, there's so much depth at the corner outfield spots that Gabby Gonzalez might not get pushed down so quickly. Or Emmanuel Rodriguez might not get pushed down so quickly if there's an injury. And I think whether you just say, is he closer to Gabby Gonzalez or is he closer to Emmanuel Rodriguez, you would have to say that Kaelen Culpepper is closer to Gabby Gonzalez, mainly just of positional depth and still needing a little bit more time to cook. I think you would put Gabby Gonzalez in Kaelen Culpepper of that camp for, I wouldn't be surprised if they make their big league debut this year, but a lot still has to go right for them. But they certainly helped out their case in spring training more than hurt it. All right. Well, that wraps up our second segment here. We are going to wrap up the show by going through the MLB Top 100 list. The PlayStation MLB Top 100 list is coming up. Lists 40 through 31. Byron Buxton and a bunch of big names make the list. And I tell you why Buxton was unfairly put there. We got more after this. This week's MLB Top 100 highlight is brought to you by MLB The Show 26. The beloved video game franchise has its latest installment, and with each week, we're highlighting the stars of MLB's Top 100 players list, the elite names you'll be controlling, building around, and going head-to-head with MLB The Show. Here, we're putting a focus on Joe Ryan, who is ranked 80th in MLB's Top 100 list. You saw it earlier this week. Ryan is back and ready to roll with the Twins in 2026, and now he's going to go pitch for Team USA in the WBC. But with Ryan's elite command, sneaky high strikeout numbers, you saw it a little bit in his spring training start earlier in the week. He's looking to make his name for Team USA in the WBC and make another all-star team this season. That same dominance shows up in MLB The Show 26 with upgraded rankings, new animations, and improved gameplay to control the Joe Ryan experience right from your home. If you're a Twins fan, this is the guy to build your franchise and pitching staff around. And in the show, you can do exactly that. I'm going to tell you, I'm excited to be getting MLB The Show next week, and I'm going to be playing as Joe Ryan almost immediately. Remember, with the World Baseball Classic still in play, it's back. Take on actual World Baseball Classic teams from all over the world with your Diamond Dynasty team. And remember, MLB The Show 26 lets you be the guys the way we talk about them every day. Their clutch moments, breakout seasons, and new superstar traits. Are you going to join Joe Ryan on your road to the show with the Minnesota Twins? What will your legacy be in Road to the Show? MLB The Show's career mode. Will you make it to Cooperstown? Well, this week's MLB Top 100 highlight presented by MLB The Show 26, where you can play, manage, and build with your favorite players and teams. If you love talking baseball, you'll love playing it even more. Visit MLB.show/lockedon and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Internet connection is required. And remember, pre-order now, available March 17th, not too far away, on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. All right, as we wrap up the MLB Top 100 list, we take a look at spots 40 through 31, and in spot number 40, it's Pete Crow-Armstrong, the center fielder for the Chicago Cubs, also Byron Buxton's understudy, if you will, for Team USA. Pete Crow-Armstrong also on that Team USA roster in the World Baseball Classic, and overall had a really nice year. And my favorite Twins connection with Pete Crow-Armstrong is that his mom, Ashley Crow, has the Twins connection herself. She was Billy Haywood's mom on the movie Little Big League. And if I could just use this for a second, this part of the show, to talk about how much I love the movie Little Big League. Sandlot is the number one baseball movie for obvious reasons, but my personal favorite is Little Big League. And yes, a lot of the reason why is because it's about the Minnesota Twins, and it makes me feel nostalgic for the Metrodome. But I think overall, I mean, there's got to be sometime next off season, there just needs to be a show where we just analyze Little Big League and how great it is, because I think it is a great baseball movie, and it gets lost in translation with Rookie of the Year because it's also a movie about a kid putting on an MLB uniform, except instead of being a pitcher, he's the manager, and it gets lost in the weeds a little bit. It's a very 90s movie when you look back on it, with a lot of the cameos and a lot of the spots, but it gets lost up with Rookie of the Year, and it gets lost with Major League and the Sandlot. I mean, the 90s was just an era of great baseball movies, so Little Big League gets lost in the shuffle. I love the movie Little Big League, and I don't care who thinks it, who knows it. I'm not afraid to say it. It's a great baseball movie. It's like The Sandlot, Little Big League, Moneyball. Those are like my top 3 baseball movies of all time. There's a whole bunch more. It doesn't mean that the other ones are bad, but those are the ones I will turn on and watch every single time. Me and my brothers quote Little Big League all the time. I think it's a great baseball movie. I think it is. There's a quote that the main character, Billy Haywood, talks about from Bob Lemon. Says baseball's a kid's game, only grown-ups screw it up. And that's the theme of the movie, is how kid-like baseball is and how this kid has to grow up and he can't handle, being an adult. He just wants to be a kid and play baseball and enjoy baseball. It's a great movie. I could go into a whole diatribe about it. I won't here, but Pete Crow-Armstrong's mom was in the movie. It's insane to think of that connection and how much that plays in. So that's really cool. Really, really cool. Speaking of really cool, Manny Machado still doing it. One of the great players in the game, one of the best third basemen out there for the San Diego Padres. He's up high on the list at number 39. No complaints there. Bryce Harper being a spot ahead of him, the Philadelphia Phillies outfielder / first baseman / who knows what's going on through that head of Bryce Harper's. He is one of the great players of the game. Obviously, he's been a phenom since he got drafted. And if you want to look at another Twins comparison, I think the high-end version, the 99th percentile outcome of Walker Jenkins, is becoming Bryce Harper, is being a big left-handed hitting corner outfielder. Bryce Harper played right field. You can see Walker Jenkins slotting in there maybe as well, being the big hitting player. I think if Walker Jenkins really develops that power, he becomes a lot like Harper as well. But again, just big, young, hyped up prospect, plays left field, hits really well, contact and power, plays a good glove in the corner outfield spots. There's a lot of similarities with the high end of Walker Jenkins and Bryce Harper. Number 37 comes Byron Buxton. And again, Byron Buxton unfairly put at 37. I think he should be much higher on this list. I'm biased, of course, this is a twin show, but I think Byron Buxton can make his case for being a top 15 player in all of baseball. 14th with a 136 weighted runs created plus, 12th in baseball last year with 36 home runs. He had an 878 OPS that was top 9 in all of baseball in all qualified hitters in 126 games. And I think if you put a Mets uniform on him, I think if you put a Yankees uniform on him especially, I think if you put a Dodgers uniform on him, we're talking about Byron Buxton as a top 20 player in baseball. But because he plays for the Twins, he doesn't quite get looked on the same way. His 30.2 sprint speed, 30.2 feet per second, 100th percentile. He's one of the top runners in all of baseball. It's Bobby Witt Jr., Byron Buxton. That's it. Those two guys are in a caliber all their own with their speed. And I think Byron Buxton, he missed out on the MVP. He was 11th in MVP voting in the American League. I think he should be a top 15 player in Major League Baseball. And again, I'm not afraid to say it, and I don't care who hears it. I have a full conversation about that, talking about his 37th ranking in the PlayStation MLB Top 100. Go check that out. You can find it on the Locked On Twins Twitter page, the Locked On Twins YouTube page, social media. We're talking all about it and where he stands. So go find me, talk more about it there as well. On number 36 on the list is Yordan Alvarez. Fair. Logan Webb, starting pitcher for the San Francisco Giants at 35. Matt Olson, the first baseman for the Atlanta Braves at 34. And this is where, again, I know Matt Olson's a good hitter, and this is nothing taken away from him. Do I consider Byron Buxton better than Matt Olson? I don't know, probably. I mean, again, we're splitting hairs here. Probably. I don't blame people who think he's better, but I also think that Byron Buxton is better. Trey Turner, shortstop for the Philadelphia Phillies at 33. Pete Alonso, first baseman for the now Baltimore Orioles at 32. And at number 31, Junior Caminero, who, again, has hit like 42 home runs, so I could see why he gets the spot because of his power numbers being just a little bit better. But again, Buxton hit 36 home runs last year, had an 827 OPS, 136 weighted runs created plus. I think he's good. I think he's better than people are giving him credit for. And I think he just gets lost on being on the Minnesota Twins, so people don't necessarily do the biggest deep dive on his numbers. But that's the list. That's where we sit, and that's where we wrap things up for today's show. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Locked On Twins. Tomorrow we continue to get you ready for the start of the Major League season, including talk of Bailey Ober's latest start in spring training. Also, we go through the MLB Top 100 list in numbers 31 through 20 as we get you, or 30 through 21, excuse me, as we get you closer and closer throughout our list here today. So once again, you can follow me on X at BombCJ30. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Twins so you get all the latest episodes. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Twins ad-free plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedontwins.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure your second listen, go check out the Locked On MLB Top 100 List Reveal presented by PlayStation. I'm CJ Baumgartner. See ya.